Hey guys, welcome to Inside Movies with George Michail and friends. Today I'm joined once again by GMB CHOMICHUK, writer, illustrator, awesome dude, Spencer Estabrooks, filmmaker, comic book maker, accused wizard, and novelist Andrew Buckley. Thanks so much for being on the show, guys. So today we're talking about the 2010 Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins, Emily Blunt, directed by Joe Johnston. And let's get into it. What did you guys like about this movie?
I liked it when the werewolf punches the guy's head off. Like there were numerous, like just single punch, one shot punch, head flies off. Like not once, twice. Like how many times did it? Like 3 times. It was pretty rad. I'm just saying, I like that.
Yeah, whenever the Wolfman was on the screen, it was cool.
There was a lot of really great practical gore effects. You could learn a lot about the gore effects, not necessarily about film editing or story development or like proper casting. You couldn't learn that from this film, but you could for sure learn some proper makeup effects. In fact, I would be the one to point out, I think, that the movie won an Academy Award for its makeup effects that year.
Rick Baker, right? It was Rick Baker who did it?
Yeah. Cool. And he tried to keep the Wolfman effects close to the original. Trying to think of who it was. I made a note of it, of who did the original Wolfman, which I will find later. But they tried to follow that. Jack Pierce. Jack Pierce is the guy who did the original makeup for the Wolfman. They tried to follow that. That was good.
It felt visually like they were referencing a lot of like classic Wolfman movie posters. Like just even like between the punching off of heads, there were just a lot of like classic Wolfman looks and like low angle Wolfman stuff. I appreciated that. It felt like they were really referencing like the older, 1950s Wolfman. So,
George, like would you agree, and Andrew and Spencer, that there was definite evidence that the people involved in making this movie loved Wolfman movies?
Oh, I would say so.
That showed. And so for that, they get a honorable mention, I think. They clearly loved their subject matter.
As I understand it, Benicio del Toro was a producer of the movie. He was on board with the project for a long time before it got made. It went through multiple directors, and he really loves the Wolfman, and he pushed this movie through to get made. I wish he was a little bit better in it, but I did feel that people really loved the Wolfman. That whenever the Wolfman is on screen, it's good. Like there's the attack at the gypsy camp. There's the asylum scene and running through London and the big fight at the end. All that stuff is like pretty cool. The problem is like that's only like half an hour of the movie, and it's like a 2-hour movie, and it's like an hour and a half of just moping around.
I loved. Okay, we're talking about good things. Anthony Hopkins can rarely do wrong on screen. I think he did a good job selling.
He looked like he was having so much fun. Out of anybody in this movie, he was having the most fun playing the cranky old bastard who was also a werewolf in the end. But man, he looked like he was enjoying himself.
Yeah, and the scene where he shows up and he just tells his imprisoned son the entire plan. He does, yeah. He just is like, he embodies that guy. I was like, wow, yeah. Flawless scene. Love that scene. There is 15 minutes of this movie that I would watch again.
Yeah, I actually have Anthony Hopkins as a negative on the movie. I really felt like he was phoning it in. I felt like he was speeding through his lines, and I did not like his performance. I did like his harmonica playing, and at the end, seeing him as a Wolfman was cool, but throughout the movie, not so much.
Oh, are we on things we don't like about the movie now?
No, we're still on good stuff.
Sticking with the good stuff.
Okay,
sorry. Good things.
Sorry.
Let's see. What about Hugo Weaving? That guy's a scene stealer for sure. Any movie he's in, I like him.
Yeah, I enjoyed his performance.
Yeah, he was good. I also really loved, in my 15 minutes I would watch again, when they wheel the lunatic into the room full of pompous assholes. And then I wanted that scene to be much longer of him ripping them all apart. That's what I wanted. I wanted as much bloodshed in that room as we got in the Romany camp, but we did not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. See the people who deserve to get it bad. We didn't see them get it that bad.
What did you guys think of Emily Blunt? Did you like her?
She was slumming.
She was slumming. She was underwhelming, but almost everybody was underwhelming. You guys like Hugo Weaving. I had him as a negative because he seemed like he was just phoning it in. That dude delivered the amazing piece in V for Vendetta. The dude wore a mask the entire time and delivered a killer performance with zero facial expression. In this one, I thought he's just Hugo Weaving. He's not that interesting.
I thought he was good. I didn't think he had enough to do with. I would have liked more of a backstory for that character. Kind of
he was late.
Why
he
he's
didn't come
hunting
in until like 30 minutes.
He was just there for a pint of bitter. I mean, come on,
Straight for the beer. The sets were beautiful. I will say that it looked really good.
So good. Although they did
like Emily
seem
Blunt's
like
performance.
they did seem like I'd seen them before in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
The one place they used for Talbot Hall is Chatsworth House. I've legit been there like 20 times in my life, and it's a cool, creepy ass looking place.
Or they're werewolves.
All over the place. They have a werewolf petting zoo. It's actually really cool.
It's only open once a month.
Yeah.
For a howling good time.
They're just regular people. You go in and touch them. Once a month, they close it down.
Just their hairy
Yeah,
parts.
they really, seriously, they are actually, they're really werewolves, guys. Honestly, you keep going and talk to them.
So I didn't feel like the romance was really justified between Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt. There wasn't enough there.
Are we on the bad now? Are we on the bad?
No, I'm still on the good because I liked Emily Blunt in it. I really thought she brought it. When she's pleading with him at the end, and you can see her reflection in his eyeballs. I was just like, I don't know. I really felt like she was very sincere. I liked her. You know, I don't know. I was on board with that performance for sure.
I've never seen a film that she was in that she delivered a bad performance. She did her best with the subject matter there, but like, you know, acting is reacting, and Benicio del Toro, he is normally a stellar performer. He was like carved out of wood for this film. I don't get it.
It was very atmospheric. It really seemed like more of a dark fantasy kind of romance, underdeveloped romance, than a horror movie with like, let's get into the bad. So let's do the bad now. I think we all have something to say. Greg, why don't you kick us off here?
Oh, I got to start with the bad?
Yeah.
Okay. He's supposed to be a Shakespearean actor, right? He's supposed to be famous for his gravitas and his delivery of empowered British theatrics. And Benicio del Toro is normally, like I said, an incredible character actor. It's like the character he was playing was, can I be boring? Can I play a bored actor who doesn't care about anything most of the time, who occasionally turns into a werewolf?
No, I didn't believe his connection to his brother. Like there was nothing there. His attraction to his brother's widow is weird and not really justified. And then his relationship with his dad, I still didn't really. There wasn't enough to bite into it, like, because I wanted to see some of the abuse from the dad. And yeah, he sent him to the asylum, but he also seemed to be kind of caring for him too. So it was a strange mix. I didn't really buy Benicio del Toro.
But interesting fact about this movie, they did save about $17 million on the special effects budget by shooting during an actual full moon so that Benicio del Toro could just simply turn into an actual werewolf, as he's done for many years previously.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, that was really good. Real money saving.
Does he go to that petting zoo?
He should.
He's part
like cameo.
He looks terrifying. I mean, I will hand it to him. He's a weird looking dude. But so, I mean, as far as, you know, the guy you want to turn into a werewolf, kind of fits the bill a little bit.
time period nod to like how a widow would end up with the brother. Like that was pretty common of that time. It just wasn't written that well. Most of the time watching this movie, I wished it had been directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Guillermo del Toro, Benicio del Toro, Wolfman film is the Wolfman film of my dreams. All of the gravitas, all of the pacing, all of the gothic architecture, all of the musical cues, all of the gore would have been knitted together into something that said something more than Wolfman bad, Wolfman die at end, which is all that movie did.
The original ending had Emily Blunt getting bitten by the werewolf or the Wolfman, and her becoming a wolf woman, I suppose. And they changed it to Hugo Weaving instead. Because
Emily Blunt probably said no.
I don't know what the reasoning was, but maybe.
It's set up for a sequel, so who wants to be part of the sequel? I was just bored.
So was I. I fell asleep twice.
Besides a head being punched off, it was the like slow, creepy, atmospheric, like flashback to the bomb trauma. Like it just felt so referential to such a. I'm sure it was a wonderful old movie in the time, and if I was in the mood for something like, let's sit down and really get into like what it's like to watch a movie in the 50s, it would be good. But I just, I found the whole thing kind of slow and boring. Like, why doesn't the werewolf eat? Like, what? Like, he just kills things and runs away. I thought werewolves would like kill, chew on it, get full. But no, he's just like there to punch heads and like rip arms, which was awesome. But I'm like, that's a B grindhouse movie. You're just there ripping off arms, limbs, fingers, heads, just like gore galore. But then we drop back into this like melodrama of, a father, son, prodigal son, murdered mother, this murdered brother, the drama of the Victorian time period. It was like, ooh.
Spencer, can I ask you, would you agree or disagree that the problem was the budget? That $150 million Benicio del Toro werewolf movie was the problem? If they had made that movie for $15 million, it would have been incredible. If it had been low budget, you would have loved everything about it because it would have pulled off the impossible werewolf movie.
But I think it was like, I loved all the action that was going on at the gypsy camp and like killing all the doctors. It's just, I think it's the Victorian melodrama that just it slowed down, and I didn't buy any of it. Like maybe performances, I'm not too sure. Like I watched this movie when it came out, and I rewatched it today, and I was like, oh, I don't even remember what it was about. And watching it again today, I was like, I see why I didn't remember, because it's not really like, it's not that interesting. Sorry.
Part of the reason was because I think it got rushed in the end. So they went through like a ton of directors for this. It was in development hell for like 10 years, at least 10 years. Del Toro was attached in like 2000, and then the guy who came on, I forget who the director's name is, but he was like a last minute addition. And because of that, that's why a lot of the effects end up being CGI and not practical, because originally they wanted to pay homage to the original and do all the effects practical like they did with American Werewolf in London. And because the director came in so late, they had to do CGI. They had no choice.
Yeah, I don't know if it was budget. I feel like it just didn't have a strong enough vision.
Well, that's what I mean. If you had less money, they would have stopped and said, "Okay, we're almost out of money. What are we going to do next? How are we going to make this look good?" Right? They would have been more careful. But because they had $150 million, they're like, "Yeah, we'll fix that in post." You know what would be a good scene? Let's have the Wolfman doing like Spider-Man stuff, because as long as it ends in dash man, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, the flying kung fu like leaps. I was just like, oh, that's not really how wolves attack, but it's cool.
I would have liked more special effects like that were practical. I felt like the CGI stuff was very noticeable to me, and I did like some of the transformation scenes. We did get quite a few of them. And I thought the first one was like pretty underwhelming. They didn't show him very much, so I had it as like a negative. But then we got like 2 or 3 more, so I was like, all right, well, they were pretty good.
Yeah, the crypt transformation was good.
Yeah,
In the crypt,
I do like werewolf movies. I like I got horror stuff behind me here. I write a monster book. I like this sort of thing. So it's my jam. I was pretty underwhelmed when it came out. I remember going to see it in 2010 in the theaters and being psyched for it, like super psyched. And it just kind of left, it left me feel like kind of underwhelmed. I felt like it could have been better. But whenever the Wolfman, and I like the Wolfman too. We don't see a lot of Wolfman. We see like werewolves, with the snout. But this design with the no snout, I think is cool. I like it a lot.
So who would win in a fight then, George? This brings up to mind. Is it Jack Nicholson Wolf or Benicio del Toro Wolfman? Who wins in that fight?
I don't know. Del Toro seemed pretty badass in this one. He seemed pretty unstoppable. He had the leg press of death, into the fireplace there. That was pretty cool.
True. Yeah, true.
You could punch heads off. Just like it doesn't matter what you do. If he hits you in the head, your head gets cut off. That's great. Fatality.
I don't necessarily think that Joe Johnston is the problem with this movie. I think he came into it last minute, so he didn't really have a chance to kind of make it his own. But this guy's, he made Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He made Captain America, the First Avenger. He knows how to pace a movie. He knows how to make an entertaining movie. And I thought this movie was as good as it could be for him kind of coming in at the end and trying to make it into something. I don't know. I think that a big part of the problem, though, is Anthony Hopkins. He wasn't menacing enough. I thought he was like speeding through his lines. He looked cool with like his like kind of pimp kind of tiger scarf. And then when the transformation where he's the gray werewolf, I thought he looked really cool and like really badass.
I wish he'd still had the scarf in that scene. That would have been cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, so I think that was maybe the biggest problem with the movie.
Scuttlebutt on this film is that Ryan Gosling is connected to the remake of it. But there may yet be another Wolfman.
So he'd be like a really sleepy-looking Wolfman?
Yeah, he would be he would be tired all the time. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, Ryan Gosling has at least the Halloween-related credibility for being the guy behind the Dead Man's Bones band, which is just a Halloween soundtrack. So they could have Dead Man's Bones do the soundtrack for the new Wolfman, and I'd be there for it, for sure.
Anytime Universal puts out a new monster movie, I'm there for it. It doesn't even matter the reviews. I'm going to check it out. Big budget, classic monster movies. I'm in every day.
I think you slid into the skinny without giving us the prompt right there.
Yeah, let's get into the skinny. Let's do some reviews. I'll go first.
You just did.
I'm going to give it a B-. Despite Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins kind of giving a little bit flat performances, I think Joe Johnston delivers a passable kind of dark fantasy movie. It's a little bit too light on scares, but it's beautiful to look at, and I did enjoy watching it again. So B- for me.
I gotta go. Unfortunately, I mean, I love werewolves. My most successful novel series is a werewolf series, and so I mean, I love everything about the genre. But man, this one fell flat because, like Spence said, it was just boring. It got so freaking boring. Like, if I had a choice, give this one a miss and watch Gene Wilder play Larry Talbot in Haunted Honeymoon, because at least that's got Dom DeLuise playing a woman, which is always awesome. So I gave this one a C+ because it fell flat.
I go 2 severed heads out of 5. I think more severed heads would have improved my ranking. It wasn't really a punchy action film, and it was too melodramatic for me. So just the 2 vibes just didn't work. So 2 severed heads out of 5.
After you said 2 severed heads out of 5, I wanted to make a great, clever moon-related ranking system, like call it a gibbous moon. But I realized I don't know anything about the phases of the moon, so I can't do that. Maybe the author of the werewolf novels can help me out here.
Yeah, no, we can't. Yeah.
No, just a sliver, just whatever the sliver of the moon is called. That's what I give this out of a full moon.
I think that's a waning gibbous. I think it's a waning gibbous or waxing. I think it's a waning.
Wax isn't waxing when it's the.
No, waxing.
Well, it happens
when
on
you
both
wax,
sides, right?
the hair comes off. So
So
it'd be
it's waning.
Wax
So
on, wane on.
That makes sense. All
Wane on, wax off. Is that the way it works?
right.
There are 15 good minutes in this movie. I give it an F for fast forward to those parts. That is my final critique of the Wolfman. I have deep sorrow about this because when people who really love a thing come together to make a thing, I want them to succeed. And Benicio del Toro has been trying to get this off the ground for so long. It should have stayed in the ground, I think.
Oh, I think F is too harsh, dude. All right. So we'll have to agree to disagree. Until next time, I've been George Michail. We've got GMB CHOMICHUK, Spencer Estabrooks, Andrew Buckley. I've linked all our socials and websites and good stuff like that. Give us a follow on those and come back next time for Inside Movies. Peace, guys.